Sup YouTube, it's ZapdosTCG here and welcome back to another TCG video on my channel. On this channel you get daily Pokemon TCG content, so be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. Today we're going to be talking about Teal Mask Ogerpon EX in a Raging Bolt EX archetype. So that's actually going to be helping out that archetype quite a bit, and it's getting more and more popular as the weeks continue over in Japan. There were some City League results and we're going to be checking out 5 deck lists for Ogerpon Raging Bolt. So if you're a fan of very aggressive decks, then you're going to be loving this archetype. Of course, the set, the Twilight Masquerade set, comes out on the 24th of May, meaning in 10 days time, you're going to be able to, of course, get your hands on these cards worldwide, and it's going to be fantastic to play. A very aggressive archetype. I am personally a really big fan of very aggressive decks because you're going to be instantly knowing when you're going to be winning and losing games by around turn 3 or 4. So that's actually very great. That means you can definitely get 3 games in a best of 3 series, which is definitely awesome because that's going to be the way you're going to be playing games over in regionals, internationals, as well as the World Championships, which is super cool. And before we dive into these deck lists, be sure, of course, to check out our sponsors, DragonShield.com, for your sleeves, binders, and deck boxes. You can get 5% off using the coupon ZapdosTCG on everything on the website. There's YourPlayMat.com, link down below to create your own unique custom playmat. PokeTownStore.com, if you're looking for TCG Live code cards, you can get 5% off on everything on the website. And there is CARDMARKET.com for European players, where you're going to be able to buy and sell cards to people all across Europe. You can use the referral name ZapdosTCG to help support the channel. With that being said, let's talk about Teal Mask Ogerpon EX. It's a grass type Pokemon that is able to accelerate energies on the board. So initially that's pretty cool because with stuff like E-Switch, you're going to be able to do some stuff, and you're also drawing cards while accelerating energy. So pretty much its ability states you may attach a basic grass energy from your hand to this Pokemon. If you attach an energy this way, you can draw a card. So initially, I'm a very big fan of situations like this because you're going to be able to flood the board with energies as soon as your first turn going second, even on your first turn going first, but you're not going to be able to attack. But if you go second, you can get that many energies on board, so you can donk people with ridiculous amounts of damage because of Raging Bolt EX. We're going to be talking about Raging Bolt EX in a minute, but the cool thing is it's also a grass type, meaning that if you're up against something like a Charizard or a Roaring Moon, you can also hit that for weakness, which is a very big bonus for an archetype that is not hitting for weakness initially. But Raging Bolt can one-shot anything, and Ogerpon is going to help out not only with draw power. If you get Ionoed, Roxanne, you name it, Unfair Stamped. Yeah, I know that's a new term because of the fact that Unfair Stamped is now an ace-pack card, an item card that has Disruption built in. Very scary, but this has built-in energy acceleration and draw power as well. And you're slapping 30 damage plus 30 more for every energy attached to both active Pokemon. So that can initially slap ridiculous amounts of damage. Let's say you're up against an Iron Hands that has 4 energies. That's a 120 damage base, but you need 3 energies to attack. That means boom, out of nowhere, you're going to be able to one-shot that, and that's going to be fantastic. So the Teal Mask Ogerpon EX, I'm a very big fan of a card like this, and now we're splashing it together with Raging Bolt. Raging Bolt EX is, of course, a Pokemon that is able to slap 70 damage for every basic energy you decide to discard from your field, meaning if you have like 4 energies that you want to discard, boom, that is going to be a 280 damage output. If you discard 5 energies, you one-shot anything in the game, basically, unless you're up against some wacky stuff like a Wigglytuff EX or a Blizzy EX with a Hero Escape, but mostly you do one-shot stuff, which is awesome. So with this, we're going to be checking out 5 successful deck lists that have performed really well over in the Japanese City Leagues. City Leagues are similar to League Cups over in the West, and they're played with 64 players at a maximum. So this first one is a first place winning list that is actually built around, of course, Raging Bolt. Also, if you're bricking, you can go for that bursting or a burst roar attack. Discard your hand, draw 6. So that's an emergency attack, but initially, if you're playing Raging Bolt, you always want to go second. And the cool thing with this kind of list, you have Squawkabilly, you have Radiant Greninja, and you have additional draw power with the Teal Mask Ogerpon EX. So the main strategy is clear. Get energies into discard pile, use Sada on 2 Raging Bolts, so you have 2 additional energies in play, and attachment of the turn, and use 2 Teal Mask Ogerpon to, of course, get your situation going. Also, with the bug catching set, you're going to be able to look at the top 7 cards, get any grass energy and basic grass Pokemon you find there and put them in hand. Very powerful in a list like this, so you can find your grass energies, you can find your Teal Mask Ogerpon, so very turbo with that bug catching set, with Tracking Shoe, with Squawkabilly, and with 4 Pokegear in here, and for Professor Sada, you're going to be able to find Professor Sada ASAP. So this initially looks like a list that I'd be testing out for sure, because I'm a very big fan of winning on turn 1 and being very aggressive and seeing the board states and all that. I'm a big fan of lists like this. The ace pack card of choice is Prime Catcher. We're not playing Ancient Energy Boost Capsules because we're actually playing Bravery Charms, which actually work out with the other Pokemon in the list as well. Think about the Teal Mask Ogerpon, putting that to 260 HP can definitely help. And the cool thing is that with Raging Bolt EX, its base HP is 240. Not only is this great up against stuff like Charizard, for example, but it also helps out a ton against stuff like Miraidon. Even if they have the Zapdos from Pokemon Go equipped, they're not going to be able to one-shot you, which is great. So you have a monstrous HP, and you can get the first KO instantly when going second, and you're going to be able to draw a lot of cards, get your board set up, and Raging Ball is going to be able to one-shot anything in the game. Currently, we don't see a one-price Pokemon in this winning list, so you could think about adding in Fluttermane or Slitherwing. These are actually helping out. They're also ancient cards, so you can Sada onto them. So a one-price Pokemon here couldn't hurt. You can also think about adding in some energy switches and some water energies to have a surprise Moonlight Shuriken out of nowhere. So you can like Sada a water energy onto the Raging Bolt, then use the Teal Mask ability to get a grass energy into play, then E-switch both of those onto Greninja, water attachment of the turn, and poof, off you go. So definitely with a high amount of Earthen Vessel, I could definitely see this working out. So I'm already thinking about like ways to make this list successful, and yeah, I'll be definitely testing this out on TCG Live as soon as the set drops, because I think this has huge potential. This exact list is also playing the retrieval, energy retrieval could help for 2 grass energy, so you can get 2 draw power cards because of the ability of Teal Mask Ogerpon. And also, as mentioned, in the late game, you have, of course, that Sandy Shocks EX. Sandy Shocks EX has been around since the Paradox Rift set, if I'm not mistaken. And also, if you have 4, or if the opponent has 4 or fewer prize cards remaining, you can actually attach a basic fighting energy from the discard pile instantly to this Pokemon, helping you with your Raging Bolt damage output number. So there is that. And with 2 copies of Super Rod, you can be a little bit of aggressive. There's also a Pokestop in this exact 60. And as a little known fact, this actually got 1st place, but also got 8th place, the exact 60 in that same City League over in Miyagi. So yeah, there's a baseline to get yourself started. Moving forward, another 1st place winning list, and that is actually from Gifu on the 5th of yeah, I would say now on the 6th of May here, the same date as the tournament that happened in Miyagi. So out of nowhere, this is getting more and more popular. This list is playing the Secret Box Ace Pack card, allowing you to discard 3 cards from hand to get any 3 cards you want. The Supporter, you can get yourself a Stadium card, and then you can also get yourself a Tool, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, Tool, Supporter, and Stadium card instantly. The cool thing with that is that is going to be counting as your 5th Professor Sada, but you could also get yourself a Tool card like the Bravery Charm or the Pokestop Stadium card. So this list, very similar. It is playing 4 copies of the Teal Mask Ogerpon. No, Sandy Shocks EX in here. 2 bug catching sets seems to be the norm in here, and 3 energy retrieval. So that's actually helping out because you're playing a higher amount of number on the Ogerpon EX. Getting them grass energies back time and time again with energy retrieval is super nice, and you then have initial draw power as well. 2 switch cards in here, which the previous list also had 2 switch cards, and then there's 2 copies of Boss's Auras because this list is not playing the Ace Pack card Prime Catcher. But it does play the Fluttermane as a 1-price Pokemon, also allowing you to slow the opponent down. If you're up against something like a Lugia, just put up the Fluttermane. Sometimes they are not able to use Summoning Star when they started with a Lugia, so they have to like retreat and do all that muckus here and there. Could annoy them for sure. But yeah, this is another 60 that got 1st place. Then another list that got top 16 is a list also playing the Cornerstone Ogerpon EX, because you do play those fighting type energies in your list. Cornerstone is actually a Pokemon that is helping out in the fact that it cannot get touched by Pokemon that have abilities. So against heavy ability decks, Chien-pao, for example, you're gonna have the upper hand with a card like that. So Back Caliber cannot attack, Chien-pao cannot attack. You name it, it's gonna be fantastic. The only way they can attack is with like an Iron Hand, but then you can one-shot that because of weakness. So definitely things in there. This list is actually playing Pokemon Catcher. The bug catching set actually is added up to 3 copies, and because you have Torton, there's a lot of things possible as well. So the Torton allow you to, of course, transform into any Pokemon you want. And the cool thing is that this really helps out with Iron Hands. You can like Sada, attach of the turn, and then out of nowhere transform into an Iron Hands when you still have enough energies in play. So that could be a very funky thing to take 2 prize cards, because you do play those lightning type energies. 1 copy of the Superior Energy Retrieval, I would rather see that cut down to another Energy Retrieval, but they actually went for that. And also the Ace Pack Secret Box is being played in a list like this. The Pokemon catchers are a little bit YOLO because yeah, you want to be ensuring that you do have Gusting. There's only 1 Boss's Orders in here, but instead of playing Prime Catcher, they go for like 2 copies of Pokemon Catcher, and there's also a 4 Sealstone in here. And to make things even weirder, there is a Weirdeer V in here, allowing you to, of course, have a lot of energies in play, use the Weirdeer, and then fly yourself to the active position to get, of course, tons of energies to get the 1-shot without losing the energies to then transform into an Iron Hands. That's probably the way it is being played currently. And also, I do love Mew EX, because Mew EX does provide a little bit of draw power as well. Although, do you need Mew EX when you do have the Teal Mask Ogerpon EX? That is the question to still be answered. Then a top 4 list playing, yeah, also still Squawkabilly and the Slitherwing here. This actually is something I really like, is the 1 prize Slitherwing can definitely upswing the price trade in specific matchups, allowing you to slap 120 damage. Specific Pokemon, I would say like an Arceus, Iron Hands, they are all weak to, of course, fighting types, so you can use that to your advantage to, of course, go with some crazy attacks on the early couple of turns. Sada, attachment, and boom, you can start hitting for 120 on a 1 prize Pokemon. This is also playing the Temple of Sinnoh. You can stop Legacy Energy from working out, but also the Neo Upper Energy. Do be careful if you're playing that Slitherwing that you do not use that against something like Dragapult, otherwise you will damage yourself, and that's going to be pretty tricky. This kind of list, I think Raging Bolt does have it really easy against stuff like, yeah, the Dragapult, because you can easily one-shot, you have high HP, you have Bravery Charm and all that good stuff, and there is a Kieran in here to allow you to slap more damage. 30 more damage against an EX or a V Pokemon helps you out, so you need less stuff. As a little example, you can have 4 energies in play, use the Kieran, and then out of nowhere, you're actually at a number at 310, which is enough in my book to actually one-shot Dragapult EX. I should check if Dragapult EX, I think it has 310 HP if I'm not mistaken, so we will, yeah, make sure that is the thing. I think, yeah, 320, so that's not the case. The Kieran is in there, slapping at 30 additional damage. I don't know against which archetype that could help out, but you need less stuff for sure. Let's say you have like 3 energies at 210. Sometimes you, with the Kieran against mirror matches, you can get 240, or against Iron Hands get to 240, which is enough to one-shot. So there is a one-off Kieran in here. Also works as an additional copy for Switch. Yeah, only 1 bug catching set, not a big fan. I would bump that up to 2 because I think that's really powerful. You can get all the energies. Yeah, the bug catching set, let's put that over here. Allows you to look at the top 7 cards. You can choose up to 2 in any combination of, oh yeah, it's not every energy or Pokemon you get, it's a 2 in any combination, but usually that's the same effect. Like you can get 2 grass energies, or you can get grass Pokemon, basic grass Pokemon and a basic grass energy, so you can have a little bit of a remix, but I think it's a strong card in a list like this for sure. And there's also a copy of Arven in here. Not too keen on it. I would just bump up to 4 copies of Pokegear and then 4 copies of Professor Sada. I think that's the most obvious way to be playing a list like this. And then a top 8 list, playing a very unique, I think this is Volbeat, right? The Volbeat, let's just put it over here. Volbeat is a Pokemon that if you go first, you can use this attack during your first turn. So if people force you to go first, you can use the Volbeat to then get Pokemon into play. You can get 2 basic Pokemon and put them instantly on the bench. So if you're forced to go first, you can get this off. With the high amount of bug catching set, this actually is playing 4 copies. You're going to be able to find that quite easily with 4 copies of 3 copies of the Pokestop. There's also a way you can and the Prime Catcher in there that you can get this fella in the active position to start using it. When you start and you go first, yeah, you can actually use this to get your setup to get some more Ogerpons into play. The more there are in play, the better your damage output becomes. You can also use it to search your deck for something like a Radiant Greninja, for example. 3 copies of Iono, so heavy on the yeah, disruption right there. Only 2 copies of Pokegear, but you do thin your deck out with the bug catching set right there. So also a way with 3 Pokestop and 4 copies of the bug catching set. There's definitely a lot of things that could happen here. If you're playing that high amount of bug catching shenanigans, I probably would just play a super run just to be safe, but it is what it is. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, 5 versions of Raging Bolt Ogerpon that actually were successful during the Japanese City League. So let me know your opinion down below. Are you planning to create a deck list based upon Raging Bolt and Ogerpon yourself? Let me know how you would be playing this exact archetype down below in the comment section. Let's get a discussion started. Which cards do you really like? Which card would you cut from a deck like this? I'm very interested to hear your opinion. If you enjoyed the video, as usual, be sure to slap the hell out of the like button. Only requires 1 tiny second every time. And if you like what you see, subscribe if you haven't already. You can get daily Pokemon TCG content over here that you don't want to be missing out on. And of course, be sure to check out our sponsors. If you're looking for Dragon Shield, you know what to do. Same goes for yourplaymat.com, PokeTownStore.com, and CardMarket.com for European players to buy and sell cards to people all across Europe. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your day. I'm very excited to test this exact 60, and I'm looking forward to the upcoming cards that will be revealed shortly in Japan. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.